Hello, my horde. So you can see, today I'm dressed a little differently. So this is my very first Lolita style dress. It is a creepy cute Lolita dress that I was very excited to receive a month or two ago from Devil Inspired. This is by Diamond Honey. But I purchased it through Devil Inspired. I also purchased this top through Devil Inspired as well. I don't remember if there were any designer brands attached to this, but also this top. I have some footage of when I open that, and I'll probably insert some of that into this video as well. But when I first got this dress, I could not, for the life of me, get it to zip up. I got very upset that night because I was just like already having a bad day, and this was supposed to be like the good thing about my day. So like not being able to get it to zip up like really frustrated me, and I got really upset, and like I never posted the video because it had such a sour ending. But here we are. It cooled off. I've been thinking about ways I could maybe make the dress bigger or whatever, but here's all I did. I installed a dress hook because this did not have a dress hook, and I'm very much in favor of all your zippers need to have a little hook at the top on your dresses. You need the hook, okay? I know everyone ignores them. They're on all of your dresses, and I know everyone ignores them, but I have learned through theater and through my bridal experience, yes, you actually want to close the hook. You want to close your little dress hook, okay? It helps pull the zipper up, and it helps keep the zipper from descending, or keeps the garment on you if the zipper does descend. Those are the reasons that you want that. But yeah, so that and a combination of my chest is very constricted right now. I might even perhaps need to get a safe professional binder for further Lolita endeavors, for I'm not gonna lie, it's real tight in there. I am not shaped this way at all. But this involved, graphic depiction here, this involved really like lifting myself up. I'm not wearing a bra at all, and really like lifting myself up into the top of the dress so that the waist could zip. And it was still quite a process. I got the dress to zip up a little easier without the shirt. So the more layers I put underneath this, the worse. The thicker those layers are, would be bad. But so far, this works. I finally got this to work, and I don't think I need to do any alterations to the dress other than having added that dress hook. Although, you know, given we'll see, because what I determined was I could always take the waist tie. I've left the waist ties on, and they're tied in the back, and I could always take that fabric and just add it another little panel on the side seams here. And I pretty much determined that because this is it would be such a small amount that I would need, I would probably be able to take the thicker ends of these ties and make it into a head bow. So that actually is a decent plan should I decide I do need to alter this dress. All of that aside, today's video is about making accessories to go with this dress, because you'll see from my full shot that this is not a completed Lolita coordinate. Not that that is 100% what I'm going for, but I definitely want to do some of that decorations and stuff. And obviously I'm not wearing a petticoat. The silhouette is really important in Lolita, and that petticoat is really necessary, but I just don't have a petticoat right now. I don't really have the money for a petticoat, but I actually have some designs on maybe being able to make a custom petticoat. That is quite an endeavor. Petticoats are not the most fun thing to make, not for me at least, because they generally involve a lot of layers of really difficult to sew material. So I don't know if we're going to do a petticoat today, but today we are going to look at some headwear and maybe some jewelry that we can DIY that will specifically go with this dress. Obviously they'll be generally applicable because I'm going to make like a nice little coffin headpiece and just some like creepy cute stuff to go with my little creepy cute dress. And yeah, I'm just babbling on about it before we get started here. But obviously these will be some actually like general creepy cute themes. So these projects you can take and you can change the colors or use with other outfits. So I think this will be a very interesting and helpful video on DIYing some Lolita style. Again, I am not technically a Lolita. I am not technically looking to achieve an actual Lolita coordinate because I just feel like I'm not sure that's exactly what I want to do while styling this dress, but it is definitely Lolita inspired. This is a Chinese Lolita brand dress. Diamond Honey, one of the smaller brands. So it is a Chinese Lolita dress. I need to figure out how to tie this. Apparently this isn't working out. Whatever's happening underneath here is not working out, and I feel a little silly that it's not working out. But yeah, so this is a dress made by Diamond Honey also does some stuff that's not really Lolita either, but sort of a kawaii Lolita brand, and this shirt here is actually also very much like a gothic Lolita piece. It really is. So it's definitely Lolita pieces and Lolita inspired, but it's also just general creepy cute. I know that I just over-explained that, but I want to be really clear that I am both not an experienced Lolita, nor am I sure that I am aspiring to be and call myself Lolita with this, but that's very much the inspiration. So, we're going to move on to the projects. Like I said, we're going to work on some headwear and some jewelry probably, and maybe some wrist cuffs, because wrist cuffs are really cool. But I don't know. I don't know how long this video is going to get, so maybe it'll be a series of things. I'm really just doing an intro without having done anything or knowing what I'm going to do, because I just suddenly decided to do this project. So this may be in parts. In fact, that's probably the best thing. This is going to be in parts. So we're going to start out with that headwear. That's what I know I'm going to do for sure, because I have some sketches lined up. So headwear for my creepy cute Lolita inspired coordinate here. So the first thing I did was actually go through and make some sketches of various accessories I want to make, and I made these pretty much while looking at the dress and trying to pull elements from the print into the accessories. You will see here, this is the headpiece we're going to end up with. The final result will be a little bit different from the original design. I'd originally thought I was gonna drop some cute little beads or something off the bottom, but I never found anything I really liked, so it is actually plain by the end of this. But those are the kinds of things you could add for some personalization on the basic shapes going on here. So then essentially I took this design and I went into Cricut Design Space and I found the shapes that were the ones I wanted to use. I do pay for Cricut Access, so there are a lot of free images I can, well, not free, I pay for them. That's what I just said. But there are a lot of images I can use because I pay for that service, and that is how I constructed that. So our next step is going to be cutting all of our pieces out.
I have neglected to mention until now, but this piece is going to be made from felt and buckram. So this is me cutting out the felt with my Cricut Maker. Felt you may be able to do with some other non-Maker Cricut products, but the Cricut Maker is really the best because it has the rotary fabric cutting wheel. It has saved my life so many times, and by life I mean my hand, because I have cut so many fabric projects in my lifetime, my hand doesn't like to do it anymore. And I don't have footage of all the pieces together until a little bit later in this video, but I do want to mention that for my design, the pieces I cut out, I needed the cross piece for the coffin, the inside coffin piece, and then 2 of the larger coffin pieces, because there's one that is the top piece, and then there is another piece that is the bottom piece, and we're going to sandwich our buckram in between that. While you have your Cricut set up, go ahead and cut out one of each piece as well. This is basically a sheet glue, frequently used by quilters to go ahead and hold their appliques on before they quilt them on. We're using this in almost the same way here, although we are also using it as a permanent glue. And I do have here, you want 1 piece of heat and bond for each of the pieces of your project because they are all going to need to be glued down. And next I applied the heat and bond to all my pieces. So I applied the heat and bond to my cross piece and then to my 2 coffin pieces. And then you take the backing off and I put the cross onto the top coffin piece and the top coffin piece onto that large coffin piece.
So just a brief moment of live commentary in this video. I realized I really should have put the heat and bond on this after doing the stitching, so I'm not really sure how this is gonna go, and if it goes poorly I might have to start over.
So this sewing step is pretty much optional, but I really like the look of embroidered objects, and this is a way to get a semi-embroidered look. So what I am doing here is I am using the satin stitch on my machine, which does create basically a line of embroidery. And I am just following the edges, first of the cross and then of the outside coffin piece later on. My cross did turn out a little bit wonky because I didn't quite get the rounded corners that were there in the original cut piece. This is definitely something you want to practice with, especially because like I found out my machine doesn't do, the stitch doesn't land exactly in the center. So like if I run a line down the center of my machine, I'll actually end up to the side of that with my satin stitch. So my zigzag is not exactly over the center. So I had to do some test pieces and figure that out so that I could figure out where I needed to be looking and aiming things to get my pieces in the right spots. The cross didn't turn out so great, but the top coffin piece actually I'm really proud of it. It turned out amazing, but it did only have those simple corners, so it doesn't look as weird. That cross did just turn out just a little unsatisfactory, but I went ahead with it because this piece is only for me, and in the future I'll get better. A hand sewing option that I want to tell you about, I think that also this would look really cute with some blanket stitch run along the edges of the pieces, or you could just leave it with just the heat and bond. The next step here is using the heat and bond to adhere the blank felt backing piece to the buckram. And I just take that piece and glue it right onto a full piece of buckram, and then I go ahead and cut it down to the shape of the felt. I seem to have lost the footage, but in pretty much the same fashion, I take my completed topper piece and I put that onto the other side of the buckram from the backer piece using the heat and bond again. And then I do a little bit of cleanup because the pieces didn't all fit exactly together, probably human error, putting things slightly off center and all of that, but just nothing a little cleanup with some scissors can't fix. And now comes one of the really fun parts. After painstakingly going through and picking out my rhinestones, I am adhering them with my trusty gem tack. This is pretty much dependent on what you're really gluing to. This is pretty much the only glue I use to adhere rhinestones. So now all we need to do is add something that actually lets us wear this headpiece. The method I am going about this is I am gluing a length of ribbon to the back, and I did use these cool little mini clips I have to help me hold that on there while that was gluing. I just wanted to add that little tip in there for you. And once this is dry, we are going to put in some alligator clips, and then that's what's going to hold it into our hair.
And here we are with the final product. Some other options you could do is you could actually clip this onto a headband or permanently sew it or glue it onto a headband if a headband is better for you. I like clips because they're a little bit versatile. I can clip them onto a headband at some point if I want to, or not. And these alligator clips are pretty much the only kind of clip that stay in my super straight hair. But yeah, here we are. I am not back in the full dress coordinate because that's a bit of a pain of the butt to get into, and I'm gonna go ahead and only get back into it once we have all the accessories at the end of this series and we'll see the whole look all together. So yes, there are a few things I would do a little bit differently. I would probably, for the cross, I would probably actually use, I had used one with the little holes in it as a guide for my rhinestones, but I don't think I would select that image again, and I would use one with just regular corners because those rounded corners really threw me off because I hadn't practiced those a lot. So in my final product, my embroidery lines are a little wonky there, and yet these straight lines out here are super perfect, because of course they are. Just a little bit annoying that just the detail work was difficult, but it just takes some practice, which I didn't do before this video, but I will be continuing to do, because that satin stitch is something I've been working with a little more and more often lately. And honestly, I mean, I like these rhinestones, but if I were gonna go for another design, I might use nicer rhinestones even. But again, not with that template underneath, so that I could do them however I really wanted to, instead of worrying about that I was covering up the template holes. One of the things I also was gonna say that I would do differently is I would actually sew this ribbon that we just put on. I would actually sew that on to the backing before I ever put all the pieces together. Just a little thing I learned in the process that I would do differently. And with that, I don't have a lot more to say about today's project. So if you want to see the rest of this series and see what other items, accessories I designed to go with this very specific dress, but the techniques of course can be applied and used to design things for other specific dresses. If you want to see that, go ahead, subscribe, I guess click the bell, because I guess that's how you see things. I don't really know how the bell works. Does anyone really know how YouTube works? No, it's that way specifically. Also, go ahead and like this video so that I know that you did indeed like this specific video. And I will see you treasures next time.